Do you want to know how to make a flawless turkey every time? Well, we're here to show you. We have a few friends coming over for supper, and we're going to be making turkey. The first thing we need to do is chop up some celery and some onions for the stuffing. You want to chop it nice and small so that when you fry it, it doesn't take very long, and it spreads the flavor throughout the stuffing. I'm happy I wasn't cutting the onions today because the onions were pretty strong. Eva was crying a little bit, which was pretty good to see. Now we're going to throw them in the frying pan, and we're going to fry them just until they're see-through. You can add a little bit of salt and pepper here if you want. And when you're frying, don't forget to add a little bit of butter. It gives you a lot of extra flavor, and you do not want your onions and your celery to be frying dry. So this gives it perfect flavor. They're about done right now, and we're going to take them off. And in the meantime, we're going to cut some bread. I like to use both whole wheat bread and white bread. There's really no flavor difference, but I do like the look of it. So we cut in total about a full loaf of bread, and now it's time to add the spice. We have poultry seasoning and sage. Now we're going to add about 1.5 teaspoons of poultry seasoning and about 1 teaspoon of sage total. I like to add a little bit at a time, and I like to stir it in so that everything gets nice and even coverage. It takes about 3 times to mix to get nice even coverage throughout the stuffing with the spices. If you're wondering what the Chinese means in the corner, that means this is the second time that I'm adding spices. Now I'm going to mix it again, and this is the third time. So this should get perfect coverage, and we're going to mix it up the last time. After everything is mixed, we're going to add the celery and the onions to the bread mixture. Now, after we add it, we realize that we don't have enough, so we're going to have to actually cut up some more and do a second batch. So after the frying is done, we're going to add this one to the mix as well, and we're going to get everything nice and mixed and even. After everything is mixed, there's something else we have to do, and that's to get it to stick together. We're going to take a couple eggs, we're going to put in some salt and sugar, and we're going to mix them up and put that into the bread mixture. This is going to help the stuffing stick together. Once it's all mixed, we're ready to go. We're going to add some moisture with chicken stock because we do stuff the bird with tin foil inside. And here's the bird. We have a young turkey, 5 kilograms. And just like any bird, it's time to undress her. And there she is. She's all naked in the sink. We're going to put tin foil inside of her guts. And here we go. Make sure before you get started this, you take off your watch and your rings. You don't want to lose anything inside and leave a present for your guests. When you're adding the stuffing, you want to push it down pretty hard. You want this to come together when it's cooking and turn into a loaf so that we can cut it into slices, because there is nothing better than stuffing sandwiches the next day. We've added enough at this end, so we're going to wrap it up with the tin foil, and we're going to flip it over, and we're going to stuff the neck portion. So once we open up the neck skin, you can see those nice breasts sitting on the inside. We're going to take some stuffing and we're going to fill that right up. Since we're not using tin foil in the neck portion, this stuffing in the front end will be much softer and much more flavorful. Finish filling it up and just take the skin and fold it right over, and it's time to throw it in the roaster. Although a young turkey, our bird had a rough life. It only had 1 leg. We're not shy, we're going to eat them anyway. So we throw in the neck, we season it with a little seasoning salt. I love using seasoning salt on almost everything. And just like soup, we're going to add some bay leaves, some peppercorns. Then we're going to add some onions and garlic. If there's anything else you want to add, go ahead and add it. This is just our personal favorite. We're then going to take the chicken broth that we used earlier and we're going to put the rest of the container inside of the roaster. Now, it's time for the oven. You can set the oven for 350 degrees and it's going to be about 4 and 5 hours. We're not going to open it up to baste it. Once it's ready, we're going to pull it out. And she looks good. We're going to take the stuffing out. We're going to let it rest for a few minutes before we start carving it. And this is my favorite part. Oh, the stuffing smells so good. I can't wait to eat it. As the chef and as the guy cutting it, we can probably take a little piece out. I start carving the turkey, start separating it to get down to the juices to make gravy. We then take the juice and the drippings, put it on the stove, and start making gravy. So to make a roux, we take some flour and we add some cold water, and we shake your money maker and get it all mixed up. Then we add it to the boiling mixture, and that's going to make our gravy. You can make this as thick as you want. You just want to make sure that you are boiling it for a little while after to get rid of the flour taste. I like to strain it afterwards to get rid of the lumps, because there's nothing that I hate worse than lumps in my gravy. And it's time to eat. So here's our perfect supper. We have stuffing, our white and dark meat separated with some gravy. We have garlic mashed potatoes. Oh, those smell so good. Some pierogies and some mushroom dill sauce. If we were gonna have more people over, there's a lot of other things we'd like to make, but there's really small groups, so this is just the basics. And the bony stuff for the Chinese girls.